World champion Denver Nuggets taking the court to try to defend their championship this year against the Los Angeles Lakers. It's Davis and Donnie here on a Monday morning going over the Denver Nuggets and the Lakers, the nightcap from Saturday night, which saw the Denver Nuggets 114, the Lakers 103. The Denver Nuggets came in as a 6.5 point favorite, which was down from 7.5. So some movement going towards the Lakers. Didn't matter. The Nuggets get the cover, and this game does stay under the total. Now, the interesting part for this game for me, Davis, was the Lakers coming out strong early, 33-25 over Denver. Maybe they would change the code here because, quite frankly, last year in the playoffs, it was a sweep by the Denver Nuggets over the Lakers. The regular season, it was a sweep from the Denver Nuggets over the Los Angeles Lakers. In game number 1 of these Western Conference playoffs, an 11-point victory for the Nuggets here. Is it just so simple, Davis, to say that the Lakers just can't beat the Nuggets?
I mean, a lot of teams just can't beat the Nuggets, right? There's not really a ton of shame in that. And if the Los Angeles Lakers wanted to avoid this, they could have played more serious basketball in the regular season. A lot of steps they could have taken to avoid having to play the Denver Nuggets until the conference finals. They did not take any of those steps. Really, they just were not good enough in the regular season. But I'm not going to shame any team for giving up, 32-12 to Nikola Jokic, because he would do that against pretty much any basketball team in the world. What can the Lakers do differently moving forward to try and make this competitive? I've seen a lot of calls for D'Angelo Russell to head to the bench. 13 points for him on 20 shots, does not get to the free throw line, basically not causing the interior of the Denver Nuggets defense to have to worry about him at all. I don't really think Anthony Davis or LeBron James can play much better than they did. 27 points on 16 shots for LeBron, 6 rebounds, 8 assists. 26, 8, and 6 is pretty much LeBron's stat line for his career. That's what he's going to give you every single night. I mean, the guy's literally, it's actually insane. I mean, he's the oldest player in the NBA. Now that Udonis Haslem is gone, LeBron is the oldest player in the NBA, and we still are counting on him every single night to be this good. Anthony Davis was good in this game, got to the free throw line, did not make any of his 3-pointers. I think they could start Dinwiddie. I've also heard, I don't know how smart this would be, but I've heard some calls for our old friend Max Christie to go from a DNP-CD to starting over D'Angelo Russell, and you move LeBron back as basically the primary ball handler, he becomes the point guard. Does that work? I mean, how mad can we get at the Lakers? The Nuggets are the defending world champions and probably even better than the Celtics. They just didn't try as hard in the regular season. They're the best team in the NBA.
It's when you look at the Lakers roster, right? You know how it's constructed. You have to go through LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I thought they provided greatness there. 27 points and 32 points. And also Anthony Davis playing 45 minutes in that game. LeBron James also playing 41 minutes. If you would have told me before the game you're going to get that type of production out of those two guys, I would have said that's probably going to be a Lakers victory, if not at least, Davis, a cover in that game. But you do need those secondary options to back you up. And D'Angelo Russell, again, 6 of 20 from the field, 1 of 9 from three-point range. He's been knocking down his 3-point shots as of late, but it just didn't work out in their favor. Then you flip it down and say, okay, well, what were the Denver Nuggets doing particularly well? Well, of course, Nikola Jokic, 32-12. That's what we anticipated. 22-10 out of Jamal Murray, and also 19 points out of Michael Porter Jr., which included 8 of 15 from the field. So as we take a look at the series and how it's going to progress, if you're looking at the Denver money line to win the series, it's expensive with that 1-0 series lead at a minus 750 price. The Lakers, if you want the dog, that's a plus 490. The spread now, Denver minus 2.5 games in the series, that's a minus 128. If you want the Lakers plus 2.5 games, that's a plus 104. If we're looking at the favorite, looks like a gentleman's sweep in 5 games at a plus 170 price. But sometimes we have to take a look at, forget about the analytics on the court. It's what's in the mind here of the Lakers. Just getting beat down time and time again from the Denver Nuggets. We knew it was going to be hard to go into Denver and win basketball games. But for the Lakers, you can't go down 0-2 okay, now let's get the series started once we get back in Crypto.com arena. What do the Lakers have to do in game number 2 to sort of change this tone of we just can't beat the Nuggets?
I mean, they got to make some 3-pointers. You can't make 8 3-pointers in an NBA game and be like, all right, good enough. Yeah, let's go ahead and win that. Now, how do you make more of those 3-pointers? Again, LeBron is a good 3-point shooter, not a great 3-point shooter. Their other best player, doesn't really like to shoot 3-pointers. Anthony Davis prefers to shoot from about 16 feet away from the basket is kind of his sweet spot. One thing that could work for them is Rui Hachimura only took 4 shots in that game. And if we think back to last year's playoffs, it was Rui who came off the bench and then ended up starting. That was sort of their big spur on action to be better than they were in the regular season. So that is something that the coaching staff could do there. Is Rui's going to be a bigger part of the game plan there. And I mean, I do think benching D'Angelo Russell would probably work, because if D'Angelo Russell is not hot, he doesn't realize when he's not hot, I guess, is the issue. Is D'Angelo Russell believes he is one of the greatest basketball players in the world, which you would like. I mean, look, if you have a player, you want them to be playing with a lot of confidence, but you don't want D'Angelo Russell taking more shots than LeBron James. It doesn't really work. Now, how do you fix that? Do you start Dinwiddie? Do you start Christie? Do you start maybe you start Vanderbilt and you do Anthony Davis, Rui, Vanderbilt, and LeBron is basically the point guard, and Austin Reeves remains in his same role. I mean, the Rui Vanderbilt lineups actually worked again in the postseason last year. I don't know what Frank Vogel will do. Really, probably there's just no answer. There really is just no answer when Michael Porter Jr. is making 3-pointers, when Kentavious Caldwell-Pope feels comfortable enough. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope took the most 3-pointers of any player in that game. If KCP just feels comfortable enough to get, it means he's getting good looks, because KCP is not taking contested step-back 3-pointers, right? It's just not really the way it works. I just think, I mean, we are just on a collision course for a Nuggets-Celtics. Like, we've been talking basketball this whole first hour, and it just feels like, yeah, we're just going to have Nuggets-Celtics in the NBA Finals is really just the way it feels.
It does feel like that, too. And also, you take a look at the major minutes played in elevation in game number 1. Davis, 45 minutes. Hachimura, 31 minutes in that starting lineup. 41 minutes combined out of LeBron James and Russell. And then you got 37 minutes out of Austin Reeves. You're just going to have other guys step up around it, because, again, if you're getting 32 points out of Anthony Davis and 27 points out of LeBron James, and forget about winning the basketball game, you're not even covering the spread against the Denver Nuggets. That's something to look into. But, again, as we said, sweeping last year in the playoffs, sweeping in the regular season, and a 1-0 series lead already. Tough team for those Lakers. Let's flip it over to Madison Square Garden. The Knicks and the Sixers did battle on Saturday. We'll recap that next.